Okay, guys. Yeah, let's get started. Okay, as you know already, we are almost been completed the major, not like major, complete DevOps part. Now we are starting the security aspect in the DevOps part. Okay, meaning where exactly the security comes to picture when we are in the process or in the pipeline of the DevOps, and what are tools are available, and what frameworks that we do use, how do we automate it, what are some of the existing tools. The tools could be related to the SaaS, DAS, and some of the log management, and some of the security, vulnerability reviews, code reviews. All these will come under the security aspect. So majorly there are three things here. The security, these are all the theoretical parts. Like this will tell us what exactly the security aspect, what are the things that you need to follow. This is also an important, and all are the theoretical parts now. Okay, and we are going to deal this with, and we are going to complete this security aspect. Okay, I would suggest you to rewatch this video because this is a theoretical part. And anyway, I'm going to write it in the notepad, in the whiteboard, so you can understand what are all these, what are the development practices, what are the tools are available for the CI/CD pipeline, what are the security aspects that we need to do, and the compliance frameworks, and how they do basically maintain the incidents response and all. What are the tools they would be using for the compliance, and everything we will be talking. This is like an overview of entire security aspect in the entire DevOps pipeline. In the next sections, those are like what are the tools. For example, we are going to learn AWS Shield, a WAF, which is a web application firewall, to protect our web applications from which are provisioned in AWS, and some of the SaaS and DAS tool. We'll try to see one of the tool, and then very basic one, and then we will see the remaining part also. That is exclusively what are the security aspects in terms of Docker and the network related, and what are tools available. And finally, this is the one which is nothing but a ELK setup. We don't, I mean, whenever I configured the ELK setup, I can share you. But what I can do is there is a pre-environment, which is already, pre-configured environment. We can walk through that. What is this Splunk and what is an ELK, how they would be functional. Okay. So majorly this is also theoretical part. And anyway, the security frameworks and standard we are going to discuss in this aspect. Okay, in the security development practices itself. Okay, okay, let's get started without any delay. Okay, now we are talking about the security, right? Now let me open web whiteboard online. Okay, okay, the major thing is which is a secure development practice. You have to be focused the security aspect while developing itself. Okay, this is the main meaning of things here. Meaning, see, generally the software design or architect, what we do is we will architect based on the functionality of the requirements. Okay, and now if we include or if we inject the security aspect while designing itself, that is going to be a robust and very secure by nature itself. Generally how how the people or how the organizations work till now is, once they design an architecture, once they design the software and a flow or architecture diagram, and then once they deployed in a production environment, what they do is then they will start thinking about the security aspect. That's how it was going till now. Okay, because of lot of vulnerabilities, lot of security concerns, a lot of compliance issues from a different organizations, right? They started worrying about the security of their existing design or existing architecture. Then they started adjusting where they want to include their security aspect. So this is how they are modifying it. Now the trend has been changed, meaning while designing or while architecting itself, they are thinking about the security design by nature. Okay, that's how they are doing it. Now the secure development practice is one of a phase which they would be following while while they are developing the software itself. In the security development practice, the first thing is majorly, secure coding basically. Okay, um, securing coding by following the security principles. Okay, uh, and best practices. Okay, these are the uh, these are the things they were been following while they are developing the practices, meaning they have to write a code in a secured manner. What does it mean is, sometimes I'll tell you, if there is any PHP or Java or Python based code which for writing a REST API, the code will have a vulnerability. For example, SQL injection or HTML injection, cross-site scripting. These are the some of the vulnerabilities which they may exploit if the code has a vulnerabilities. Okay, for that, what they do is, while coding itself, they have to follow some principles and best practices to avoid such kind of an issues. Now let's see what are the secure coding principles and best practices, and what kind of a tools they would be using. I know the one of the best tool which I have worked earlier, most of the MNCs or organizations which would do, they follow is one of the thing is called secure warriors. Right. Right, this is the code. Okay, what does it mean is, these guys will provide some kind of products from their company. What they do is, they provide some kind of a courses or assessments or tournaments, like coding assignments. What they do is, they'll give a bunch of codings, and then they'll ask us to find out where the vulnerability it is. Okay, once you find it, then you have to, they'll also suggest how to fix that. This is the assessments or tournaments it looks like. Right, see, this is how one of the things here. This is on the right hand side. Of course, this is a premium one, meaning we have to buy if we want to this. They'll, in the right side, they'll have their code base, which is in the Visual Studio editor or some other editor. It could be Python or Java, like this. And then they'll give a problem statement. Okay, what kind of a vulnerability that code has and where it is. This is what you have to find it out. If you can't able to find it, you can get a hint where that is coming. And finally, how to fix that, what is the solution for that. By this way, people will easily understand how to write a secured code. Okay, so this is a best example. And even how the corporate companies would be using is, they buy the plans from this website, and then every weekend or every hackathon, or every month or every year of the security month, especially, by the way, October month is a world security month. So basically, if you want to purchase or if you want to apply for any of the security related courses, this is the month we may get a very best offers, because this is the world security month and security awareness month. So this is the month the corporate will try to configure, or will try to set up a security awareness month in their organization itself. So this is how they would be doing it. Okay, I'll show you. I mean, I just showed you the tool, right? But I'll show you how this works in a simple one here. I'll take this itself here. Okay, see, if you are from an engineering teams, you'll get a different thing. If you are a security team, you'll get a different thing. If you are administrator link, you will be get something like this. So what I do is, see, they should give some kind of example also here. Connect GitHub, contact hub. Okay, no, I think this is not the one. Okay, case studies, podcast, ebooks, and webinars. Okay. Anyway, it's fine. I can directly show you SQL injection code in for login. Okay. For example, right? You might have used some kind of a query. For example, I know. I mean to say not you, the development team, and that whoever has been developed the code, and it comes to you for your code review. Of course, the security vulnerability teams. The security management team will get or assigned a task to review their code. These guys will manually go and read each and every line of a code or functionality of a code or method of a code, and then understand it, and they'll try to find a vulnerabilities. And for example, here what they have done is select a star from users where user ID equal to 105 or 1 equal to 1. So basically 1 equal to 1 here they have given, right? This is one of the form they have given, and this is a SQL injection vulnerability issue in your code. We should not write the code something like this. What it has to do is it has to filter out in the there itself, meaning select a star from users where name equal to this, and within single quotes they have to use this. This is how they can eliminate their user, their SQL injections basically. Okay, this is how the result will be constructed. In the previous command, where name equal to John or one equal to one, so something they'll try this. This will exploit your database itself. So you have to eliminate this kind of a use case from your code itself. How do you do that? By appending some kind of a special characters like this: double quotes and double quotes close here itself, or double quotes and double quotes code itself, and double quotes starts here, ends here, and then similarly the same thing apply here. Okay, so you don't need to bother or worry about all this because you are not the security professional. But as a DevSecOps person, you have to understand what is this SQL injection, or how to find out it. At least you need to know the basics about it. Okay, this is a SQL statement, one of the database query, and they are trying to fix one of the query by writing the code. These kind of issues will be these kind of issues will be find by the a tool or manually by the security team. There are some tools which automatically detects. That kind of tool is like this. These guys, secure code warrior is one kind of a tool, will assist you or will teach you how to do that and all the stuff. Okay, so now let's come back to our thing here. Okay, this is one of the best practices you should be doing while you are coding itself. Who means not you. You have to assist the developers, or you have to give insights to the developers. Hey dude, there is some practices you have to follow where you while you are writing a code, especially the database queries in your backend APIs. Okay, so this is what you have to do. And let me put you some of the things. Secure coding practices. Okay? Secure by design, they are saying. Eco, right? Secure by coding, security by design. What does it mean is, while designing your API, for example, you are a developer or you have a team and you are a DevOps person to that particular team. What you can suggest is, as a DevSecOps person, you have to educate them, saying that while they are designing a REST API itself, you can assist them. You should be think about how that API should be written. Okay, meaning, for example, while they are writing a REST API, they will be understanding what is a request JSON and response JSON. And if we want to authenticate this request, first of all, you have to, without authenticating, you shouldn't accept any request JSON. Okay, once, even if you authenticated successfully, you should not pass the values directly to the database without filtering it out. You have to filter it out. Filter it out means, for example, as I showed you, right, SQL injections. You have to filter out what is the data, whether are there any escape characters which will be, or are there any malicious code which includes these special characters and all the stuff, right? They have to validate it. This is the best practices, and this practice you should be using, I mean, while you should have this practice while the designing itself. And next one is a password management. What does it mean is when you should not accept any password in the plain text. Plain text means you have to ask, I mean, if you find, for example, let me show you here. What I can tell you is Flipkart. Okay, what I can show you here is that, for example, I'm logging in here. Okay, no, what I can tell you is, um, here this is asking a mobile, right? Okay, login. No, I should be asking, no, not a Google. Express VPN. So, I mean, what I meant to say is, my account here, right? What I can do is now, hello, 123, right? See, hello, this is my password. And now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna filter out everything, and I'm filtering only XHR calls. So if I click on, there is a backend API is hitting for the sign in option, sign in REST API. Let's see. Okay, this is what the hit they have done it. And if you go to the payload, what they are doing is, see this, they have a, let me put it this way. Okay, here I can show you. This is the REST API they have been called, and this is the URL they have done. And if you find anything here, see the get track JSD, all, if you find anything here, you can't find the password anyway. They have encrypted it basically, okay? But in somewhere, but still the applications were not even encrypting and sending the data directly in a plain text format. This is a bad way of doing. The front-end developers, whoever is working on it, you have to ask, once you get a password or any of the secret keys, you shouldn't pass in the any in the plain text format. Okay, that is a another password management. I mean, this is a simple example. Meaning, and one more thing is, there are a lot of things you can talk if for each and everything. I'm giving you the basic example, which you can easily understand it. Another example for the password management is, um, uh, generally once when any user has signed up, we will store the data into the plain text format, right? But we shouldn't do the user data in the plain text format. I mean, you can store in the plain text format, but not the password. You have to store the data in the encrypted format, which only the application should be able to access. For example, I'm a team lead, or you are an employee, or there is a CEO. Even CEO shouldn't even able to open and see the password except the application itself. Only few people should have an access key to decrypt and see the password along with the application itself. This is another example. Another thing is access control. Access control means, for example, there are an applications. For example, see this VPN example here itself. So if you go to their purchasing plans, right, they have a multiple offers. For example, 6 months, 12 month, and 1 month here. I mean, whoever, for example, if you purchase a 6 months plan, you shouldn't access the 12 months plan itself. Okay, features. So you should have an access control. Who should access, of what, and when, everything. This is where the rollback OAuth management will come into the picture. I mean, these are the rollback, I mean, RBAC, role-based access. This is one of the framework which they will be implementing in the access control management system. Okay, this is another example of that. Another thing is error handling and logging. What does it mean is whenever any error has been logged, that error shouldn't throw any of the secret information. Okay. For example, right? For example, you are trying to access some application. It has thrown an error in the web page itself. Once, if the error message has what is the file name, what is the code base, and the logic of a particular method, it will try to throw the application logic itself. We shouldn't do that. Simply error code and simple one message, that's it. Okay, I'll show you error code handling. Error code handling example, security risk. I'll show you what I'm talking here. See here. Mm, yeah, see, this is one of the a .NET or Java based application. What they have been doing is it's directly throwing an error in the web page itself. See, input string was in a correct format, in not in a correct format, and it is showing the line numbers, which is a direct code itself. See, coding implementation style exposed here, meaning the way how others writing a code, right? This guy is exposing that in the error itself. This is not a good practice. You should be properly handle the good practice. And even stack trace here, see this, there is an exception which is an accepting a string, but there are a lot of other functionality which was been throwing. See, this guy is throwing in a version of it. So a hacker, right, especially in the hackers, there are a people called social engineers. The social engineers main task is use each and every bit of information about you. Okay, all footprinting, they will be using it. They'll read and each and every line and then understand an information and then format data about you. Okay, so they'll try to work against you. So that's the another thing which I'm asking about, the talking about the error handling and logging information. This is a exposure, definitely threat, good exposure to the external world. And another one is logging, right? What does it mean logging here is that logging means right, in once you run an application, there will be some logs, right? That log should not have any of the sensitive information. For example, a password of a user login, password of the master, user banking details. For example, you are logging into the Flipkart, and in the backend there are a lot of logs will be generated in the Flipkart backend server side, and they will make sure in the backend server logs they shouldn't log their users information, personal information, especially for credit card informations, billing informations, product item purchase. They would have been eliminated, or they would have skipped it. That's how your log should be handling it. Okay, and what I'll tell you is here, error log handling. I'll show you an example of it. An example of the security risk here. See here, if you see here, this is the password for this guy, and this is the pass name, and this is the port number. So there is a lot of information they also try to put in the log file. So it is a very risky, the personal email IDs, passwords, and everything. This is another example. You have to avoid that kind of thing while you are developing a software itself. And another one is a system configuration. For example, system configuration means you have created a EC2 instance, okay? And what you have done is you have installed some web server. And then what you have done is you have exposed some unnecessary ports also. What the hacker, what the exploiter guy would do is that what that guy would do is they will scan your network, or they will scan your EC2 resource, which using a nmap or anything, any of the tool. With that, what they do understand is what ports are open for this EC2 server, and what process it is running, and what version of it, and how others, how the hacker would do is, okay, 8080 port is been open for this EC2 instance, and there is a one Apache server is running of 3.9.2. And once they found any version of Apache 2, what they do is they'll try to find out are there any security patches for that particular version. Okay, and if they exploit, and by using that patch version, they'll try to exploit you. I'll show you an example of here. EC2 port open data security threat, which is like kind of okay EC2 exploit open ports. Yeah, see this? This is the best example. What this guy is saying is that he is using nmap of these ports of this IP address, which is nothing but your EC2 server. And it is started scanning about that. Okay, this is showing, okay, this server is, this IP address is from EC2, or it could be from GCP or Azure or Linode or any other cloud provider. It will tell you that. And the next one is, it is not showing any of the things except 22 port number. Okay, 22 port number is open, which is related to the SSH service, and the version of that OpenSSH service is 7.2, and basic version is Ubuntu only. This information is found out. I'll show you another example here. Okay. Backdoor. Okay, this is the best example here. See this? He started using nmap against to some IP address. See this? This is an IP address for that guy, and it found these many ports are opened: 21, 22, 23, 25, 53, 80, 111. All these one are open state, and the services, which is, for example, see here, 1524 TCP prototype, which is in open state, and the service which is running is a bind shell. Okay, which is basically there is a one backdoor property. For example, let's see this. I'll take an example of MySQL 5436, I guess, and MySQL version is 5.0, right? Okay, what I'll search is MySQL 5.0 vulnerabilities. Okay, there is a some vulnerabilities are there in between 5.0 to 5.067. Okay, or this is having a CVV here. And since I know this guy, there is a one CVV, which is nothing but a one vulnerability published by the open community, and the vulnerability ID is this. What this doing is, it will tell you once you have started. The base score is a 4.9, which is a type of medium, and the score is this. Let me unspecified vulnerability in MySQL connector complex in Oracle MySQL 5.1.3 earlier allows the remote authenticated users. See, they can exploit, they can directly authenticate remotely without any changes in the configuration. This is the main one of the problem in the 5.0 version. If, okay, this is the problem we identified. As a DevOps person or as an infrastructure engineer, what you should be doing it out is you have to maintain or you have to properly configure your entire system, meaning you have to keep on updating your software. You have to map, you have to scan your infrastructure, and then you have to understand what services you are exposing to the outer world, and if there are any vulnerabilities are present in that particular version, you have to patch it up. So you have to do everything. That is nothing but a system misconfiguration. Okay, and even for this is another best practices or another principle you have to follow while configuring your system. You have to check what configuration you should not enable all the stuff here. And another one is a threat modeling. Threat modeling is For example, you are seeing a CVSS score, CVV score, right? What this exactly is, threat modeling is nothing but a place where you can find all the vulnerabilities of all the related software. See, JFrog has another one, threat modeling tools. I'll show you. OAS10 is also another one, threat modeling. Okay. See, the best example is, okay, threat intelligence. This is a general term. Threat dashboard, mitigation dashboard, a rule engine, okay, scalability, okay, integration with existing workflow, reporting it, okay. So, see, I mean, these are all the features your threat modeling should have. Meaning, if you find any of the vulnerabilities, your threat more, I mean, your threat modeling tool should know a full information about particular vulnerability. For example, you know the vulnerability CVV256 is the vulnerability code, and if you install particular tool, it should have all the information about that particular vulnerability. And threat dashboard, it should show a list of all the threat dashboards. Okay, I mean all the list of threats in a single dashboard. And mitigating dashboard, which is nothing but a, you have to, it should auto suggest the how do you mitigate, or how do you solve it, how do you suppress. That should also suggest you the solutions. Another one is a rule engine. Rule engine means, for example, if your code is scanned and if there is any, if there are any vulnerabilities it found, what it should do is it should not deploy the production. So you have to put some kind of a restrictions to not go for the production deployment or any of the, you can configure the some of the rules in that. It's that particular, your threat modeling tool should have this kind of a feature also here. And scalability means it should able to scale multiple types. For example, source code scanning, infrastructure scanning, database scanning, or runtime security, static code analysis. It should have all kind of a, it should, I mean, your tool should be able to handle all this kind of thing. Okay. And yeah, it is a common feature, so it should show the report and all. Let's say the example. Okay, this is an example. Carriers, this is a web-based tool and it has some of the features it was mentioned above. And Iris Risk, okay, and Kenavium, okay. And one more thing is Microsoft Threat Modeling tool from a Microsoft, OAS Threat Dragon. So these are the some of the threat modeling tools which will be used by the security management people, security teams, okay. So exclusively they will understand. For example, you know the EC2, I mean, you know the EC2, you know the VPC, all where does all this exist? In AWS EC2 dashboard, right? You are a DevOps person, you are a cloud engineer, and you know how to log in, and you know how to launch a EC2, how to log in VPC, and how to create all the infrastructure, because you already learned and you are a DevOps person. That is your area of learning. Okay. Similarly, threat modeling tools is also area for the security people, I mean security management people. They know how to use that. Similarly, this is what we have been talking. But even though you are a DevOps person, I mean, you should know about since you are a DevSecOps person, you have to know about what is a threat modeling tool, and what are all there, what should have a common fields. Okay, this is the another best practices they should have. Meaning, okay, another one is a cryptographic practices, meaning this we would be using especially for encrypting and decrypting and transactions doing with the multiple payment systems. It should be art, everything should be encrypted format. Okay. And this is another cryptographic, it does not required by everyone, if you are, until you are working in any payment software. Okay, for example, PayPal, Paytm has a lot of things, UPI. This, if you are working on that, you have to use that also. And even if you are maintaining a multiple wallets along with the cryptocurrency, you have to use that as well. But we don't need as in general purpose. Another last thing is input and output encoding. What does it mean is, in order to not tampering your input data, you should be encode it, and then you have to validate the SHA-50 code and all the stuff. So you should have a plan for that. These are the secure best practices you should be implementing while you are following the secure. I mean, this is another aspect of the secure development aspect of it. Okay. Okay, and another one is what I want to talk about is that you know, this is nothing but the secure software development framework. Okay, which is nothing but a, what does it mean is the best example is WASP 10. This is one of the framework every security team would be following it. This is a open web application firewalls, I mean security access of all the state, I mean all the security vulnerabilities are presented here. Okay, every year it will update the top 10 list, meaning for example OWASP 10 top 10 means for every application will have some kind of a vulnerabilities. If your vulnerabilities are presented under this top 10, you are most been vulnerable or your application is not that much secured. So every year this data will be get updated here. Okay, for example in the 2017 the most every or the most up I mean the most I mean I could say most of the applications have SQL injection. Most of the application will have a broken authentication vulnerability. Most of the applications will have a sensitive data exposure, XML. These are all the vulnerability types which was published of a top 10 in the 2017. This is nothing but a kind of a framework which will tell you how to mitigate this, how to follow the top 10 and how to do that. Okay, there is a something called OWASP.org and it will tell you what kind of information that you can find. Okay, so if you come here injection, if you type here you will get all kind of information about the SQL injections here. See, this is a 221 here. I mean, A03 is the vulnerability code in the OWASP 10. Okay. And most of the, and what exactly, what is the position of this, how they can utilize, meaning when users supply the data as null validated or filtered sanitized by an application, this is where your would be get injected. Okay, dynamic queries, if you are passing a dynamic queries or non-parameterized calls without context aware escaping, so these are the way that they can apply or they can come to your application by following these kind of actions. Okay, and how do you prevent of it, what is the prevention of it, example how to they do example of it, and how this injection is leading to another kind of a vulnerability, and the every information they would be giving you in the OWASP 10 itself. Okay, so you have to follow this framework and then you will easily understand. So nothing, it's like, okay, are you following your OWASP 10 framework? Yes. Okay, then you should be able to I mean you should be able to scan your entire application and find any vulnerabilities are there. If there are any vulnerabilities you should be mitigate that. Okay, this is another framework, and exclusively this is a open source one. Okay, so this is another one you would be following it, and I'll tell you security frameworks. Yeah, here if you see there is a NIST cybersecurity framework, and there is NIST SP, ISO 2000 series, COVID 5, CAS controls, and everything. Okay, so you these many frameworks are there, which is nothing but someone has to follow their framework, which that framework is nothing but a mitigation steps or process steps how to mitigate such kind of vulnerabilities. Okay, this is what you will be doing once if you are following any of the framework here. Okay, the next one is which another aspect in that one is code review techniques. This guys require some kind of experience in a coding also here, and code review for identifying security vulnerabilities. I mean, what does it mean is You don't need to worry about all this, meaning code review techniques. For example, it depends on the Java also here. Okay, so if you take an example of a Java, so they have some practices. So you should be, I mean, not this is an example, code review techniques and security aspect. Yeah, see this is, see these guys also followed. See popular security vulnerabilities list, how they do that, and what is the security vulnerabilities, is this code suspectable, and it's basically they are inspecting each and every line of your code. Who will do that? Security management people. But you should, as a DevSecOps person, you should also be aware of all this. Of course, even though they won't ask you to do that, but still you should be smell those kind of an issues also here. And even if the security teams involves, the first person who will contact you is a DevSecOps person, because they will think that security aspects also, you will be also knowing the security aspects, you have to think about the security aspect. That's why they will come to you as a first person, and they will go to the development, I mean developers. That's how you should be. At least you should be doing it. Meaning, are you following input validation? Are you authenticating properly we using any authentication of a user management or rollback? Are you providing authorization? Again, it will come as a rollback or I mean RBAC or what. How do you are handling a session management and encryption? How you are following? What kind of base encoding techniques you are using? How do you are handling exceptions? Are you practicing any security flaws during your code reviews? So everything you have to follow. This is nothing but a code review they will be following, which they will be done by the security team. The worst part is, if there is no security team in your organization, you are the person who is going to do all these stuffs. Okay, this is the worst part of it. Of course, it is the luckiest, I mean, I don't say it, but you got a lot of work that you will be easily learn about it. Okay, this is another one, I mean another one which I would like to talk about it here. Okay, and another one is securing the infrastructure using some of the tools here. Okay, so which are nothing but basically for the packaging and all the stuff here, which means, for example, how you are maintaining your infrastructure. Are there any VPNs? Are you whitelisting any IPs? Or do you have any bastion access? How you are restricting it. Right? mm, if you have any open, I mean, if you have any, this one is installed, right? I mean to say, if you have any of the easy to install, if you open your var logs log slash auth.log file, you would find a lot of hacking attempts in your things from a different IP and different passwords and different usernames. Okay, so you would be getting such kind of issues if your infrastructure is not properly configured. Okay, this is another one which I would like to talk about it. Okay, another one is security automation, and basically, this concept. Okay, where is this automation in the CI/CD pipeline, basically? So what does it mean is, you would be writing some pipelines for your deliverable of your software, right? So what are the security aspects of it? Okay, so what do you mean by this? You have to integrate security into your CI/CD pipeline. Okay, this is the first thing. And next one is, once you have done integrated, how do you automate it? Okay, how do you automate your this above thing? Okay, security testing it. Okay, and the next one is security scanning out of it. Okay, using some of the threat model or vulnerabilities management. Okay, next one is that, how do you maintain your securing the packages or assets. So these are the things you would be following in the security automation in your CI/CD pipeline. Here, okay. So I'll show you the example here. Secure. Okay, I'll show you secure CI/CD pipeline. If you see here, there are a lot of phases in our CI/CD pipeline, like a planning, coding, building, testing, pre-release, deploy, and operate on monitor, right? So these are our general pipeline. Okay, now in terms of a security in your pipeline, you have to integrate the security aspects in each and every phases. For example, in the planning stage itself, you have to follow some of the threat models which we have discussed. For example, okay, if we are following a injection, like what is that, if you are following any of the existing frameworks, for example, microservice architecture, serverless architecture, monolithic architecture, two-tier web application, these are some kind of a dependency injection. We are following some kind of patterns in our design, right? If any design has any vulnerabilities, if there is, how you should be using that kind of you should apply your threat models on your design itself. That is one way of in the planning section. Next one is a coding. While coding itself, what you need to do is you have to integrate some kind of a plugins in your code editor. For example, lint issues. The lint is another plugin. What does it do is this plugin is available for Eclipse, IntelliJ editor, Visual Studio, Atom, all kind of editors. What does it do is while writing your code itself, it will automatically scan your code and then suggest you, okay, this line of code has some kind of a bug, please fix it. Please don't use this way. This is a will come as a information disclosure vulnerability. In this line you have a SQL injection, so it will auto suggest it, okay, in the pre-commit itself, if you integrate the such kind of things in your IDE here. Okay, in the build phase you should be using a static code analysis or dynamic code analysis. These are the things you have to apply in the build phase, which is nothing but a for example, MVN package. This is a build phase out of it. And while testing itself, you have to apply some kind of a tools called DAS tools, SAS tools. All these are the like scan your entire application itself. Okay, this is in the testing phase. In the release phase, it will again scan for any of the crucial or secret information in your package itself. This is a in the pre-release, which is nothing but a kind of a creating a package, which is more equivalent to build phase. And in the deploy phase, once you deployed it, you have to scan against your application, like as I showed you, as I told you, like, are there any backend backdoor options available in your infrastructure? If there is, how? I showed you, right? Apache port number, finding a patch for that particular vulnerability and all the stuff. And finally, operating and monitor, which is nothing but a, if the logs has any of the sensitive information, if you find any suspicious activity in the logs, if the user is trying to access unauthenticated resources, which is not having an access, such kind of all the things will be applied from the monitoring by using a Splunk and ELK setup itself. So this is the security aspects you have to integrate in your pipeline. Okay, we have talked these many tools here. And the next one is that basically automating a security aspect. This is nothing but a same thing here. What is that here? SAST, IAST, DAST, right? So this is where our and a dashboard, which is nothing but a which again, I mean, static code analysis tools, dynamic code analysis tools, these will come into picture. This is where we have talked about some of the tools also here. This we will learn when we are learning about our SAS and DAS tool in the continuous security aspect of it. Yeah, okay. And one more thing here is that, what is that? Yeah, securing the package assets. Again, the same point here. Securing the package here itself means your artifact should not be accessible to anyone. It should have a SHA authenticated code, meaning, for example, no one would be tampering if you provide a SHA authenticated mission. For example, um, you published a package. Okay, if you once you published your package, if you publish your SHA code also, and they will once the client has downloaded, what they do is they will verify the SHA code again. If the both the SHA code, whatever you publish and what they got, if both are matched, means the package was not tampered. It was very secured. Okay, I'll show you an example of that also here. Okay, see this notepad.exe file has a hash. That hash is this one. Okay, this is what they have been published. I'll show you. Kali Linux virtual box for package. Okay, let me show you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download one of the package of the virtual box. What, for example, let me download the virtual box here. Okay, and here if you find here sum, this is the sum. Okay, once you they are using a SHA-256 sum, and in the Linux, like we have a commands called cd, ls, nano, vi editor, right? In every Linux box there is a command called SHA-256 or md5. These are the command line tools are been present in every Linux. If you just download SHA-256 space the file name, for example, I'm going to download this. Okay, what does this going, it is downloading, right? Kali Linux or something. I'm going to stop now. Once I download, once I my download completed, what I do is SHA-256 space and then file name. If I type the file name, 1 minute, guys. Hmm. So once you downloaded the file, if I type the command space, the file name, what does it do is it should show a hash number like something like this. You have to validate these two, which means if both numbers are validated or both the keys are validated, no one has been tampered. Tampered means, for example, if the hacker got an access of this website, what he can do is he can download it and then he can add his own malicious code and then upload the same thing again and then make them available to download. Okay, so meaning they have tampered the data, they changed it, right? So if they have changed anything, automatically this code definitely won't match it. So that is nothing but a package, securing your package uh, for everything. Okay, this is the best practices. And yeah, this is one thing, guys. Yeah, any, I think, yeah, so this is what I want to talk in the security aspect out of it. Yeah, okay. Now, another part of here is, anyway, we talked about the infrastructure security, especially we should have a, what is that? We should have a VPN or Bastion host or whitelisting the only access list or something like this. Okay, you should be definitely able to access and everything. Okay, and the next one is incident response system here. Okay, this we will talk about tomorrow class, but these are the simple, we will talk all the stuff here. Okay, no issues in this. Let's stop for this here and we will talk these things in tomorrow's class, and then we will start the AWS WAF, which is the practical part. That's it, guys. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please reach out us. We can be available for you if you have any questions. That's it for today. Let's meet tomorrow, uh, 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. That's it. Thank you, guys.